I'm Heather, and this is a prenatal yoga class, about an hour 15 or so. I'm so glad you could join me. So today we're going to focus on a practice that is aligned with the winter season, which is something we do when we're practicing yoga with Ayurveda in mind. Yoga and Ayurveda are both sister sciences, Vedic sciences that are meant to work hand in hand. And so, one way we can observe Ayurvedic principles when doing yoga is to observe the seasons. So, this practice is more grounding, centering, calming, because the energy that's most prevalent in our environment right now is very busy, fast moving, dry, cold. So you'll see the opposite energy showing up in this practice. In other words, more grounded, centered, slow moving, stillness even. Um, so welcome. Let's try it out. So I like to begin in a seated position. If you are close to a wall, you might even back up a little bit so you have a little extra support. I also like a folded blanket just to support my back. Rolling the shoulders back to open across the chest and heart. I invite you to take a deep breath in and out, blowing away stress, your to-do list of the day. Just taking a few moments to land right here. Hmm. Settling in, finding a few moments of quiet with yourself. Maybe you'd like to take one hand to your heart center and the other hand to your belly, connecting with your baby. First, welcome yourself. Oh, you made it. You're here. It's half the battle, of course. Check in with yourself first. Say hello. Notice how you feel. Now the invitation is to shift your focus to your belly, to your baby, checking in. And between the two of you, what would you like to invite into this practice today? What is it that you seek? It's okay if nothing in particular shows up. Simply being present for your practice is a wonderful intention for you and your baby. To keep your self awareness flowing so that you can take care of yourself. Remember that everything is optional, that's offered here. It's best that you do what feels right for you and for your baby. Usher in a deep breath, blow it out of the mouth, or sigh it out. We'll get started. Come to your yoga mat or blanket or a towel, whatever you're using at home, and find yourself in tabletop pose. Gathering wrists under your shoulders and the knees under your hips, maybe a little wider for pregnancy. Toes separated also about hip distance apart. We'll just begin to circle the torso gently and slowly. Spread the fingers wide. Root both hands firmly down. But let the arms be soft. As you find some exploratory movement here, letting your breath flow. When you feel complete in that direction, you can start to circle and sway in the other direction. Feel free to linger in any place where it feels good. Or visit any repetitive motions that feel natural. Maybe a little bit of hip swinging or swaying. Head gently wagging from side to side. And then when you feel complete with that, send your hips back towards your toes, coming together now behind you. Widen the knees to make room for your baby. And stretch your arms forward, walking fingertips away to get a nice stretch here. You might bring in a block or a couple of pillows to support your forehead. As you release the head down, bring it in a little closer. And release the low back, let the tailbone drop. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears. Usher in some deep belly breaths here if that feels good to you. If you feel short on space here, you can tilt yourself forward, bringing the knees a little bit closer together for support, and prop yourself up on your arms like this. That might feel a little bit more spacious for you. Any intuitive movements are welcome here as well, and at any time during this class. Letting the head hang. Good. And then coming forward, pressing yourself up into tabletop pose once again. Move our prop out of the way. Walk ourselves a little forward here so I have more room behind me on my mat. Starting with the right foot, tucking the toes and lengthening the right leg behind you. Those fingers are spread wide, the whole palm pressing down as I also press back towards my right heel, drawing baby up and in towards me so that I can maintain a neutral spine. This is a nice calf stretch here. Keep the breath flowing. When you've had enough of that, you can shift the weight forward and lift the leg about parallel with the floor, making sure that your hips are squared down towards the floor. I'm going to move this forward just a little bit. And now coming into some cat curls here. So on an in breath, lengthen out through that back heel, lifting the chest, exhale, round the spine, drop the head and the tail as that back knee bends and comes in towards you. Inhale to reach, exhale, and curl. A couple more times like that. Nice, easy movements. Drawing baby up and in. Last time. And if you feel like balancing a little bit here on this last one, holding, drawing baby up and in towards you, dropping that hand down to the ground. Press back into that heel one more time, stretch out that calf muscle. Now we're going to move these props away just a little bit. We're going to turn to the long side of the mat, turn our whole bodies. And the foot underneath me is going to pivot away from me as I align my hip over this knee and align my heel that's out there with the knee. Okay, coming into variation of side planks. We can stretch the right side of the body. Now I'm using, I've got my hand down on the mat, but you're welcome to use a block here and place it right underneath your shoulder. Shoulder, elbow, wrist block. Take a big breath in here, reach, circle that arm around. Exhale as you bend that outer leg and sweep the arm underneath you, just like that, breath by breath. Exhale to crouch down. Inhale to reach. Remember, slow movements helps to balance this frenetic energy of early winter. Keep the breath flowing. Good. Hang out here as long as it feels good. And if you want, next time you come up, you can join me in balancing, picking up that outer foot, reaching the other arm up or even over the head and reaching fingertips away in the opposite direction from your heel. You can turn the chin down, look down for balance. Reach, reach, reach. Feel that side body getting a little longer. And then releasing down to your mat, coming back to tabletop pose. We're going to do that whole sequence to the other side. Stretching out the left leg now, pressing back into the left heel. Take a few breaths here as you draw baby up and in, engage core muscles. And then as you're ready, lifting the weight or shifting your weight forward, lifting the leg, just parallel with the floor, hips down. On your next in-breath, lifting the chest. Exhale and drawing that knee underneath you as you round your back, drawing baby up and in. Inhale to lengthen and reach. Exhale and softly curl. Inhale to reach. Exhale. We're deliberately making these movements very slow and intentional. Last time. And now, if you want to come into balancing table, you can do that now with me. Taking a few breaths here, drawing baby up and in. Engage those core muscles. Reach, reach, reach through the back heel. And then finally bringing the hand down, the toes down. Watch my bottom foot as I pivot it away from me, coming onto my other side. Side angle on the other side. Aligning this hip with the bottom knee. My wrist with my shoulder. Just taking a moment to get aligned. My outer heel with the knee. And then reaching up. Taking a big breath in here. Exhale. And crouching down. Up and over as you're ready. You can follow the hand with your gaze, or you can look down if that feels better for your balance. A couple more times like this. Follow the rhythm of your own breathing. There's no rush here. Remember, you can use the block under the hand. And then when you feel complete with that movement, if you want to balance, you might use a block for that. Bring it right under the shoulder. Balancing with arm raised, straight up, lifting that leg, or even arm over the head, drawing baby up and in, finding that neutral pelvis. Taking a breath or two here, reaching fingertips away from that heel. And then releasing the foot down, the hand down, turning your body down, bringing that bottom foot in. And we'll come back to child's pose once again. Bring the toes together behind you, sink the hips back, open up the knees. Again, bring in some support for yourself. You can even tuck your toes to lift your hips a little higher. And you can bring your prop up a little higher too. Stretching out the arms if that feels good. Keep the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. And take a few comfortable breaths here. Maybe you'd like to expand into belly space. Or maybe in all directions in your abdomen. When you're ready, slowly bring yourself back up to tabletop pose. Now preparing for downward facing dog. I'm going to bring the knees underneath the hips. Tuck the toes if they're not already. Spread those fingers wide. Really rip the rims of the palms down, gripping your mat. Bringing the hips and the knees up. Keep the knees bent for now. Step your feet wide enough to give baby plenty of room here. Keep the heels lifted. Stretch out the whole back like a cat or a dog. Deep breaths here. Humming or moaning is always welcome. Let those sounds out. And then slowly, one foot at a time, you can press the heel down towards the mat with one heel and then the other. Letting the hips move and sway as they want to. As we explore this stretch a little bit. And then finding stillness here in downward facing dog, as long as that's comfortable for you. You're always welcome to come down back to child's pose if you'd like. Or polar bear. Now for those of you who are still in downward dog with me, you can step the feet a little closer and lift up the right foot into three-legged dog. Reach those toes away from you as you ground down through your hands. Reach, reach, reach. Keep breathing. Take another big breath in as you exhale. Swing that leg down. Bring the foot forward outside. Step it forward outside the right hand. So nice wide step here. Okay. I'm going to use a block here for support as I bring my front elbow down upon my front thigh. Okay, coming into high lunge. Open the chest, relax those shoulders. If you want to do a little rocking here, stretch out the legs, you're welcome to do that. You can also take that back knee down. You might like to have a blanket handy for a little cushion as we come into low lunge. Only if it's comfortable, then letting the hips sink down just a little. As we stretch out that back thigh muscle, let the shoulders be relaxed. And I can use this block under my supporting hand to bring the ground up to me if I'm needing a little bit more room for me and baby. Good. Now, an option here, obviously, if that's painful, back off and you can stay upright in low lunge. Okay. If you're in low lunge, you also have the option of coming into a very gentle half twist. So we're going to place that block under the left hand and face towards our right knee very gently. You can even push the knee out of the way, make room for your baby. This front foot can peel off the ground. Taking a couple breaths here. Notice that my back toes are still tucked, and this helps to for my back leg to feel strong. So a nice upright position, lengthening the whole torso, and this is a very gentle twist that's happening mostly in the upper body. Good. Bring that knee back in. Place, I'm going to place my prop over here because I know I'll be using it on the other side. Place both hands down under the shoulders as you straighten out that back leg and step the front foot back for downward facing dog stretch once again. So remember, this is a stretch, so make it work for you, whether you're doing little movements. Eventually find stillness here as we draw our feet a little closer together for three-legged dog on the left side, lifting that left leg, reach, reach, reach. I forgot to do this on the other side, but try some ankle circles here. Just circling out your foot in one direction and the other. Take a big breath here. On your next exhale, swing that leg down. Step the foot forward to the outside of the left hand for high lunge. I'm going to reach for my block, put it right under my right shoulder as I hoist myself up, finding a nice high lunge here with hips squared, shoulders released down away from the ears. Really pressing down through the feet. My back toes are tucked under. And then eventually letting that back knee release down onto a folded blanket. Coming into a low lunge, if that feels comfortable, that means the hips may be sinking forward just a little bit if that feels okay. If not, you can stay in this fairly upright position. If you are coming forward, you can use this block again. Place it on the far end of your mat. For your hand to rest as you come into this half, this more of a twist and chest opener. So I'm going to move this left knee away from me a little bit to give lots of room for baby. And I'm going to open up my chest towards that knee. Taking a few breaths here. Or just hang out as long as it feels good. You can always bring that knee back in when you're done. Good. And then we're going to step back to downward facing dog one more time. Or perhaps you're ready for child's pose. It's your choice. Placing hands down, strong hands, fingers spread wide, straightening out that back leg first, stepping back, feet wide for baby. And maybe just for these breaths, coming into stillness. Remember that still energy really helps to calm the fast moving energy of the season. When we've had enough of that, you can start to paddle your feet, walk your feet forward towards your hands to come into a forward fold. Remember, wide feet. You can even turn your toes out a little bit to give more room for baby. Hanging forward, using props here. I'm going to use my trusty bolster here. You can use a couch cushion for this forward fold, just to bring the ground up a little higher. That might feel more comfortable, or even bending the knees and bringing elbows to the tops of your thighs. Okay. Good. Really feel all corners of the feet in contact with the ground. Drawing the tailbone down into a version of chair pose here as we sink our hips back a little bit. Good. Keep the spine nice and long. You're welcome to place your hands down on your body at whatever level feels right for you, right? This may feel more appropriate. And then when you're ready, you'll use your hands to walk yourself up, rolling the shoulders. Keep that movement going just for a moment to land in mountain pose. Feet are wide, grounded. The legs are strong. Muscles activated by pressing the feet down, rooting down. The knees are soft. Pelvis neutral. One hand in front and one hand below helps us to feel what that's like to be in a neutral position, meaning not tilting forward and not tilting back. Somewhere comfortably balanced right in the middle. Bringing your hands in front of your heart center. Take a moment to check in with yourself. Feel the beat of your own heart. Take a moment to check in with baby. You might imagine a little faster beating of his or her heart. Good. You ready to move on? Hands down to the hips. And we'll take a step back with the right foot, straight back. Okay. I wonder if I can see the time. Oh, yes, I can. All right. I hope that's the right time. Good. So what I did was I stepped straight back. So my feet are still hip distance apart here in Warrior One. I'm also going to tilt my torso forward just a little bit to improve my balance here for my growing baby, my growing bump. And you're welcome to take the hands to the low back here and stabilize your pelvis with both hands pressing down, a little bit of a sacral press there. Or if you'd like, coming into an arm bind, interlacing the fingers behind the back and drawing the arms straight and the chest wide. Feel both feet strongly rooted, equally rooted. And if you'd like a little bit of movement here, on your next inhale, you can straighten out the leg. And on your next exhale, slowly bend. And we're looking for the front knee to be aligned over the heel or ankle. So we're not moving that knee too far forward. Just stacking it right over the heel or the ankle. Just like that. Nice, easy, measured, rhythmic movements. So something for winter time, especially early winter time, is those regular movements or practices. Anything that has a rhythm, that's regular, not as sporadic or unpredictable. Good. And we'll take the hands back to the hips, take a step forward, straighten up into mountain pose, step back with the other foot. For warrior, on the other side, again, feet are hip distance apart, using the hands to gently press down on the sacrum. That might feel really good, or you might like the arm bind. That opens the chest a little bit more, especially if breasts are getting really big and heavy with your milk and it's causing this type of posture. So you can do this as we pulse in and away from that bent knee. Nice, long, smooth breaths here. Even breaths. That sense of regularity will help calm a scattered mind. Last time, hands to the hips as you step forward. This time stepping back with the right foot, but instead of stepping straight back, I'm going to step back so that my heels are now aligned. They're on the same line, apart but aligned. Opening the hips out to the side, the long side of my yoga mat. I might open my feet just a little bit wider for warrior two. Taking a breath here, rolling the shoulders back. As you exhale, bending the right knee. Again, look for that alignment and that the knee is moving towards those little toes and not towards the big toe. Okay, the knees tracking in the same direction as your toes. Again, find that strong, stable stance, legs, pelvis. And then once you're here, you can start to pulse in and away from that bent knee. You can either hug yourself, hug your baby. You can take the bind, the arm bind behind the back. Take your time. And if you can, lengthen out the breath just a little bit more so you slow things down. Remember, the energy is very fast moving. Think of the wind. It's unpredictable, it's cold, it's quick to change. Good. And bringing hands to the hips, we'll turn those left toes forward for feet to be parallel. And then to the other side, we'll turn the right toes away. I'm also going to pick up that back heel and send that heel away from me. And that's a transition into warrior two on the other side. Obviously, you can go to the other side to your mat and simply step back, align the heels, and open the hips. And once you're here, find what feels good for you. With your arms, you might do something different. Inhale to straighten the leg. Exhale. Good. Align the knee over the ankle. Both feet strongly pressing down, equally pressing. Legs strong. Nice. Last time. Letting the arms come out to shoulder height now. We're going to stretch it out in side angle. And bring this hand to your belly, your bump. You can reach the other arm either straight up or over your overhead. Notice that I have this elbow planted on the top of my thigh for support, and I'm keeping this knee aligned. So just breathe here and stretch. This outer hip turns forward just a little bit. You can look down for balance. Relax those shoulders. This is a reminder here not just to connect with baby, but to connect with the neutral pelvis. If the arm overhead becomes too tiresome, you can sweep it behind the back. Now to come out, we'll sweep that back arm forward, circle it around, and now reaching for that back leg, front arm reaches up for reverse warrior. And it's up to you if you want to keep the legs straight and reach and just work on lengthening the right side of the body. You can also bend this knee. Watch for the alignment, for a little deeper stretch, whatever you're in the mood for, right? And then adjust. We won't hold that as long. Bringing those outer toes in, heels or feet are parallel. We'll do that on the other side, turning the feet Toes away from you, heel behind you, finding warrior two on the other side to come into side angle. One hand at the belly, one hand overhead or reaching straight up. This back hip is rotating forward just a little bit for balance across the hips. Looking down for balance. So it's tempting to put more weight on this front foot, but try to put plenty equal weight into that back foot as well. And if you can, open that chest. Keep the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. And then when you're ready, circle the arms wide, straighten out that front leg. Breathe in as you reach. Keep breathing here. And it's your choice whenever you'd like to bend that left knee coming into reverse warrior. This hand is on the leg for support. You can hold on. Taking breath into the other side of the lungs, lengthening, making space for more breath for you and your baby. And then when you're ready, letting arms float to shoulder height. Hands back at the hips. Bend this knee just a little bit more to pivot on the heel, toes turning forward. Feet parallel to each other now as we prepare for forward fold. Roll those shoulders up and back, open the chest, and as you exhale, my hands are coming to my low back, my sacral area, as I'm leaning forward, leading with my heart. And you're welcome to stay halfway down here, or come all the way down. Either way. Well, if you're coming all the way down, you might like this bolster or a couch cushion in front of you, bringing the ground up. Bent knees are always okay in forward folds. Let the spine be long, the back of the neck is long. Keep the feet strong, the legs strong, the feet pressing down. We'll take a half twist to each side. Keep both feet pressing down equally as we press down with this hand and reach up with the other. And then when you're ready, let that arm glide down. Reach the other one out and open on an inhale. Keep the breath flowing, both feet pressing down equally. The belly is relaxed here. We're opening or twisting more so through the upper chest. On your next exhale, when you're ready, letting that arm glide down. Bending the knees here, and you can come all the way down if that's comfortable for you. You might like a little bit more height. A little bit more height. Right? Make this comfortable for you so you can hang out a little bit. Bending the knees, toes turning in just a little bit. So get that right rotation of the pelvic outlet opening up a little bit. Right? That's where babies will be coming out, just to get a sense of that area. Deep belly breaths here. Straighten out the legs if that feels good, whatever feels good here. Stretching out the arms in front of you. And when you're ready, placing hands down on the props to push yourself up slowly. I'm going to take hold of the blocks, I think. bring the heels in more and set myself down, my hips down on the blocks for a squat. Make sure that your feet are in front of you, toes turned out if that feels good. Leaning forward just a little bit, bringing the elbows to rest on top of the knees. Taking a few moments to let the energy settle, bringing the energy down towards the ground, towards the pelvis, the lower body. Once again, checking in. First with yourself, then with your baby. And then when you're ready, we'll move on. Reaching underneath you for the props, slowly removing them, placing your hips slowly on the ground, and coming into cobbler's pose. So you might like to bring soles of the feet together, or even place a block in between the feet if that feels not as available to you. And again, if you're close to a wall or a big piece of furniture that's not going anywhere, like your couch, lean up against the wall. Cobbler's pose is great for pregnancy because it really draws energy, blood, and circulation towards the pelvis. Right, so we want more of that nourishment to be moving in the direction of your pelvis and your baby. So gathering yourself at your ankles or at the feet, whatever feels most comfortable. Taking a few moments here. Slowly unwinding from our standing poses. And as you're pressing the feet together towards your block, try lengthening the torso and drawing the chest up and away from your baby to create a little bit more room, using the wall for support. Careful about those ribs that might want to jut forward. Keep your ribs up against the wall if you can, or at least drawn in towards you. Allow your breath to be soft and passive. Feeling this downward flow of energy that is nourishing you and your baby. Now, when you're ready to move on, walk your feet away from you and use a couch pillow or a few pillows to stack right on top of your feet. I'm going to use more pillows or blocks if you have them to create um, more support for you as we come into a forward fold. Hinging forward at the hips, and grabbing hold of whatever you have here. I like to take one of the blocks and use them to support my forehead. You can try that with a pillow too. Or what also works is just gathering elbows in front of you and placing your head in your hands, or placing palms together and resting forehead against your thumbs here. Letting your torso be long, the chest remains lifted, so you're still giving you and your baby plenty of room. Pressing down through sitting bones, pressing the feet gently towards each other. If you feel a lot of muscles tensing and gripping, you can just try to relax the feet, legs. Welcome the breath deep down into your pelvis, into your belly. On the inhale, you might even bear down just a little bit, as long as you don't have to go to the bathroom. And if you do, please take a quick break. Bearing down just a moment, just to feel what it's like to press up against the pelvic floor. And then drawing the pelvic floor gently up and in. So it's not a full Kegel, it's more of an exploratory movement. Inhale to expand in all directions, including down, bearing down very gently. And as you exhale, feels everything draws back in towards you, including your baby and your pelvic floor. Keep the breath flowing, visualizing the pelvic floor supporting you and your baby. It being strong, but at the same time supple and flexible. So that we can contract, we can learn to contract the pelvic floor, but we can also release it. Start to transition out of that pose. If you want, you can come into a deeper forward fold, rounding your back if that feels good. And then from there, when you're ready, beginning to roll up, eventually sitting up, and we'll prepare for relaxation at this point. So I like to come into Supta Baddha Konasana, which is supine cobbler's pose. So using two blocks here, whatever objects that you have that are similar to that, one higher up and one lower down, kind of like a ramp. And then using my couch pillow or my bolster right on top of that, up against the wall, or a really heavy piece of furniture that you know is not going anywhere. Okay. I'm going to throw my blanket even on top of that so that my head has a little bit of support, and then I can do something like that so I can work it the way that I need to. Placing yourself in front of the bolster, make sure there's just a little bit of room so you can tuck the tailbone as you lean back. What we don't want is for the low back to be flexed as you're releasing back. So tuck the tailbone gently as you lean back so the low back feels long and smooth and relaxed. Now I can reach back for this pillow and adjust it as I need to, or blanket, whatever you have handy. I'm going to stay in cross-legged pose here. You're welcome to put more pillows under the knees, under the arms, and find a place of ease here. as we integrate our practice, as we rest, settling in. Remember that you can move and make adjustments anytime you need to. You might, your hips may call for some relief at some point. You can bring the knees up, the feet down, lean the knees in. This can also help with an achy low back. I feel like I can be a little higher up on this bolster. There we go. The beauty of being in a supine, a half reclined position is that you're laying on your back, but you're not laying on your back on the ground. It also helps to open the chest, heart. We'll spend just a few minutes here. You're welcome to pause the video at this time to have a little bit more time and relaxation. We'll just take a few right now. You can also place hands on your belly. Slowly begin to transition out of relaxation. You might take some deep breaths and some sighing breaths out. You might invite small movements in first before the big ones come, allowing your body to move any way it wants to. And eventually, rolling over to one side. So turn yourself over to one side. You can stay up on the bolster. And then eventually placing hands down on the ground to press yourself up to seated. Once again, finding a comfortable seat, you can lean up against the wall if you'd like. We'll take a minute just to sit quietly with ourselves. Notice how you feel. Checking in with yourself first. Maybe a hand on the heart helps with this. Eventually checking in with baby, hand to the belly. Thinking back to the intention we had for our practice today, noticing if that's still resonating with you. Notice if that's resonating with your baby. And making a intention to be connected at the heart space as you are with your baby. Sending along and any loving messages or receiving them. Bringing energy from both of these hearts together in your hands, bringing them to you and bowing your head towards yourself and your baby. Giving yourself a little love for showing up for this practice today. Thanking baby for his or her participation. Thank you for joining me. I hope you found this practice helpful for you today. Again, my name is Heather. Feel free to join me again for prenatal yoga here at the Heart Revival. I wish you well.